You know that feeling when the internet seems to know you, maybe a little too well? Like 1 minute you're just casually looking for some new hiking boots, and the next thing you know, your entire feed is just mountains. Ads for gear, articles about trails, videos of treks you've never been on. It's super convenient for sure. But it makes you wonder, right? Is this hyper-personalized world actually expanding our horizons, or is it quietly building an invisible cage around us, an iron cage made from our own likes and clicks? Okay, let's get into it.
First off, we've got to admit, it's pretty magical. I mean, platforms like Spotify or Netflix, they just seem to have this sixth sense for what you want to listen to or watch next. It really does feel like a world that's been built from the ground up just for you. And the tech that makes this all happen, it's actually a pretty simple idea, but it is incredibly powerful.
So, at the very heart of this personalized universe is something called a recommender system. This is the engine that drives pretty much everything you see. Its whole job is to sift through the absolute chaos of the internet, the millions of songs, products, and posts, and serve up a nice, tidy list of things it thinks you're going to love. Think of them as your own personal digital librarians and shopkeepers. Okay, so how do these things actually think? Well, there are two main flavors. Over on the left, you've got collaborative filtering. This is basically the people who bought this also bought logic you see on Amazon. It looks at what you do, finds other people who are kind of like you, and then it just recommends the stuff they liked. Pretty simple. But then on the right, you have content-based filtering. This one's different. It completely ignores other people and focuses only on the thing itself, the item's attributes. Pandora's Music Genome Project is the classic example here. It literally analyzes the musical DNA of a song you love and then goes out and finds other songs with a similar vibe, a similar rhythm. You get the idea. So yeah, we have this incredible technology that's making our lives so much easier, more entertaining. But this is where our story takes a bit of a turn. Because when you live in a world that only ever shows you what you already like, you run into this fundamental problem, a paradox that's right at the core of our whole internet experience. Let's just ask the question straight up. When everything is so perfectly curated, what's the catch? What's the real cost? When an algorithm's number one job is to keep you hooked by feeding you more of the same, well, what are you missing out on? And that brings us right to this crucial idea, the personalization paradox. The very systems that are designed to make us happier and keep us engaged can, without even trying, end up trapping us. They build these cozy echo chambers that are so comfortable, so validating, that we might not even notice the walls are closing in, just slowly cutting us off from new, diverse, and maybe even challenging ideas. And this leads us straight to the filter bubble. And the key thing to get here is that it's not just about what you see, it's all about what you don't see. The algorithm is constantly making these invisible edits to your reality, quietly removing anything it predicts you won't like. And the result is this kind of intellectual isolation, where your own beliefs are just reflected back at you over and over again. And sometimes this isn't even an accident. This is where dark patterns come into play. These are basically sneaky design tricks that nudge you into staying inside that bubble because it benefits the company. Think about how some sites make it almost impossible to dislike something, or how a video just automatically plays the next one in the queue. It makes it frictionless to stay and just a little harder to leave. It's all designed to keep us clicking, often by exploiting our own psychology. So if our digital world is getting narrower, what are we really losing? I mean, it's more than just missing out on a different point of view. We are seriously at risk of losing two of the most powerful engines for creativity and innovation that we have, serendipity and, well, the exploration of what's just beyond our reach. I think we've all felt this before, right? Serendipity. It's not just random luck. It's that little bit of magic that happens when a chance encounter, like a book you randomly pick up or a conversation you overhear, collides with a question that's been buzzing around in the back of your mind. It's that aha moment, the kind you just can't plan for. And that idea connects beautifully to this concept called the adjacent possible. Imagine innovation is like exploring a huge, dark room. You find a light switch, you flip it, and suddenly a part of the room is lit up. And now you can see a bunch of new doors you couldn't see before. The adjacent possible is simply all those new doors, the next set of ideas that are now within reach, all because of the one discovery you just made. But here's the thing, you can only open the doors you can see. Just look at this graph. It shows this idea perfectly. Along the bottom, you have all the innovations we've already made, everything we know. And on the side, you have new innovations. See how they're connected? The more we discover, the more new things we can discover. Innovation just keeps building on itself. And the real danger of a filter bubble? It shrinks our map. It hides those nearby doors from our view. And this story from a composer is just a perfect real-world example. So he's working on a musical piece about a fallen angel. He's a bit stuck. Then one day, he's on a totally random trip on the tube in London, and he sees an ad with a big eye on it. That unexpected image clicks with his research, and suddenly, the names of the stations, Angel, Archway, Highgate, it all comes together and gives him the entire structure for his composition. That is a brilliant idea that, let's be honest, probably would not have happened in a perfectly filtered, personalized world. So are we just stuck with this? Is this just the price we pay for living online? Not at all. And this is the exciting part. Platforms are actually starting to figure out that breaking the filter bubble isn't just a nice thing to do for users, it's actually good for business. Let's look at some really fascinating proof. This quote comes from a huge experiment that Pinterest ran. They tweaked their algorithm to show a more balanced representation of different skin tones in their search results. And what they found basically challenges the whole idea of the filter bubble. It turns out we don't just want more of the same old stuff. People actually value and even crave diversity. And they've got the data to prove it. When Pinterest deliberately showed more diverse and previously underrepresented content, engagement with that content shot up by a massive 15%. This wasn't them forcing people to look at things they didn't want to see. This was them meeting a need that people didn't even know how to ask for. And check this out, this is the real kicker. What about the users who were already going out of their way to find diverse content on their own? Well, their overall time on the platform increased by 11%. By making discovery easier, Pinterest made the whole platform better and more engaging for its most curious users. And this wasn't just some flash in the pan, a novelty effect that wears off. Nope. 9 months later, these positive changes were still there. And that really proves that designing for inclusion and diversity isn't just some side feature. It's a fundamental upgrade to the whole user experience. Now, while it's great that platforms are starting to change, we don't have to just sit around and wait for them. We can actually take control right now and actively engineer a little more serendipity into our own lives. We can, pretty much, learn to make our own luck. So how do we actually do that? Well, researchers have pinpointed 4 key strategies. First, just vary your routine. Take a different digital path. Click on a section of a news site you usually ignore. Follow someone on social media who's totally different from you. Second, be observant. Don't just mindlessly scroll. Actively look for surprising things. Third, make some mental space. Go for a walk, let your mind wander a bit, and connect the dots. And finally, look for alignments. Be open to seeing patterns and finding meaning in unexpected connections, just like that composer on the tube. This quote from a game designer just says it all, doesn't it? Creativity doesn't come from staring at a screen hoping an algorithm will serve you up some inspiration. It happens when you get out there and feed your brain with new, weird, unexpected stuff from the world around you, both online and off. And that really brings us to our final thought here. The algorithm is fantastic at showing you a reflection of the person you are right now, based on everything you've ever clicked. But it has absolutely no idea who you want to become tomorrow. And that's a question only you can answer. And the answer might just be hiding in that next link you are about to scroll right past.